Be me, Operations Supervisor for ETHA Logistics. My domain is the outbound dock, a sprawling concrete expanse where the entire daily output of this regional distribution hub converges. Thousands of packages, hundreds of pallets, funneled into a constant parade of waiting trucks. My job: make sure every single one of those trucks rolls out on schedule every single time. It's a high-stakes, high-stress game of physical chess, where a single delay can ripple across an entire national supply chain. My competence is measured in the smooth hum of diesel engines pulling away on time, and the satisfying emptiness of my loading bays by shift end. Be not me, Brenda, our new HR manager. She arrived 6 months ago, sleek power suits and an air of detached superiority. Her smile was a practiced, unsettling thing, perpetually hinting at a hidden agenda. She spoke in corporate buzzwords like synergy and optimization, but her eyes always seemed to be scanning for potential weaknesses, for anyone she could label as underperforming. She was an HR manager who viewed employees as liabilities to be managed, not assets to be cultivated. Her first major move was a new efficiency initiative for the outbound team. She claimed our loading times were suboptimal compared to industry benchmarks she'd found in an online report. She demanded we cut 15 minutes off the average truck turnaround. This was physically impossible given the volume and the actual package dimensions. Our current process already pushed us to the very edge of physical capability. I tried to explain the practical realities: the square footage of the trailers, the weight distribution protocols, the mandatory safety checks. Brenda just waved a dismissive hand. The employee handbook outlines optimal labor utilization, supervisor. Perhaps a lack of dedication is the real issue. Her tone was sharp, her gaze unwavering. She considered the handbook a weapon, not a guide. A few weeks later, she targeted Mike, one of our best forklift operators. Mike had been with ETHA for over 20 years, a master of his machine. Brenda spotted him taking a brief stretch break, leaning against his forklift, just as safety regulations recommend for prolonged equipment operation. She swooped in, citing unauthorized time off task. She intended to write him up, potentially dock his pay. I stepped in. I pulled out the Occupational Safety and Health Administration guidelines, printed in bold, stipulating mandatory micro breaks for operators to prevent musculoskeletal injuries and maintain focus. Brenda's face tightened. She backed down, but her eyes held a spark of pure resentment. She didn't like being wrong, especially not in front of a bottom-tier employee. Her entitlement grew. She sent out a company-wide memo announcing a lean principles adoption program. She then demanded a detailed report from my department, explaining why a specific processing line, the one handling bulky, irregular items, was consistently behind schedule. She insisted on a fixed output target for it, regardless of the fluctuating, often unpredictable inbound volume of these specialty items. I spent an entire weekend compiling data. I presented her with graphs, charts, and actual inbound manifests. The line's output was directly proportional to the variable input. To meet her fixed target would require either significant additional staffing or consistent overtime. Brenda barely glanced at the report. Supervisor, lean principles suggest eliminating waste, not adding resources. This is about better time management on your part. She dismissed the data as excuses. My patience, already thin, began to fray. I saw the glint in her eye, the subtle challenge. She was testing me, subtly asserting her dominance over operations she didn't understand. Then came the hammer blow. It was the last week of October. ETHA Logistics handles a huge chunk of holiday season fulfillment. The volume surge had already begun, earlier and heavier than projected. The outbound dock was a controlled maelstrom, requiring every ounce of our collective effort just to stay afloat. Trucks were piling up in the yard, waiting for their turn at the bays. We were already asking for volunteers for an extra hour here and there, just to keep pace. The system was strained, humming with the dangerous energy of impending overload. Brenda, completely out of touch with the reality on the ground, decided this was the perfect moment to prove her efficiency. She bypassed me entirely. An all-staff memo landed in everyone's inboxes, including mine, But it wasn't addressed to me as the person managing the actual process. It was addressed to all departmental supervisors and team leads. It read, "Effective immediately, all overtime requests are frozen. Any deviations require written approval from the HR director, her, with a 72-hour lead time, to be approved only in cases of absolute emergency as defined by HR Policy 4.7b. Unapproved overtime will result in disciplinary action for the approving manager." A collective groan went through the warehouse. The air grew thick with unspoken panic. Trucks were already sitting half-loaded, their schedules for distant delivery points dissolving into vapor. The backlog in receiving, already significant, would now become a mountain. Critical outbound shipments, already behind due to the lack of available dock space, were about to halt entirely. I walked straight to Brenda's office, the no overtime memo clutched in my hand. Her door was open, and she was tidying her impeccably organized desk. "Brenda," I said, my voice dangerously calm, "this policy right now will halt our outbound shipping. We're already behind, and this effectively shutters operations for the next 3 days at least, until we can get approvals." I spelled out the looming catastrophe, item by item. Missed deadlines, canceled orders, potential contract penalties, client relationship damage. She looked up, a faint, almost imperceptible smirk playing on her lips. "That's your problem, supervisor. Manage your time better. My policy is clear. The only emergency is failing to adhere to my policy." She leaned back, crossing her arms, utterly convinced of her own unassailable wisdom. She actually suggested that I was inefficient, and this policy was merely a necessary measure to motivate my team to perform within standard hours. Her arrogance was a physical presence in the room, suffocating any remaining common sense. This was it, the breaking point. From that moment, I went into read-only mode. No more arguments, no more explanations, no more appeals to logic. Just meticulous clinical documentation. My internal gears shifted, locking into a precise, methodical pattern. I became a machine, dispassionately observing and recording the unfolding disaster. The quiet hum of the warehouse was now accompanied by the furious clicking of my keyboard. I drafted an email to Brenda, carbon copying no one, specifically asking for clarification on the absolute emergency clause in relation to contractual service level agreements. "Brenda," I wrote, "with the overtime freeze in effect, truck 722, carrying high-priority goods for Willow Creek to Dallas, will be delayed by 8 hours. This impacts 3 major retail chains. Does this situation qualify as an absolute emergency under HR Policy 4.7b, requiring immediate overtime approval to avoid contractual penalties?" Her reply was swift, a single line. "Adhere to the policy, supervisor. Plan accordingly." No, it did not qualify. She had explicitly denied the overtime. I logged it. Every single request for clarification, every single warning, every single dismissive reply from Brenda. I started timestamping everything. I took photos of the overflowing docks, pallets stacked 4 high, blocking fire exits. Photos of our on-time departure display board, now a sea of red numbers indicating severe delays. Photos of the long line of stationary trucks in the yard, engines off, drivers waiting, frustrated, but unable to work. I pulled up my own job description, highlighting my responsibility for ensuring timely and accurate outbound shipments. I cross-referenced it with the company's master client service level agreements, which contained specific clauses about penalties for missed delivery windows. Brenda's no overtime directive directly ensured I could not fulfill my primary responsibility. I printed out her original all-staff memo in triplicate. I began meticulously reviewing every corporate bylaw, every operational manual, every safety regulation. I found clauses on maintaining safe working environments, adherence to client contractual obligations, and prevention of gross negligence. Each one, a potential weapon in my arsenal. I made sure my team understood that I was not approving overtime, per HR's direct instruction. I had them document their own requests for extra hours, noting the specific tasks left undone. The paper trail I was building wasn't just a trail. It was a multi-lane highway, paved with Brenda's own words and directives. The catastrophe, as predicted, was swift and brutal. Within 72 hours, the entire outbound operation ground to a crawl. Critical client shipments missed their windows. Major retailers, seeing their holiday stock vanish into a black hole of ETHA logistics incompetence, started canceling orders en masse. Penalties for missed deadlines, enshrined in ironclad contracts, began to stack up like the pallets on our docks. Customer complaints flooded the corporate switchboards. The news, local and then national, picked up stories of frustrated consumers and empty store shelves, all traceable back to the unexplained delays at ETHA Logistics. The company's stock took a nosedive. The hammer fell on a Tuesday morning. The regional director, a man named Mr. Harrison, descended upon the warehouse, flanked by 2 corporate lawyers. His face was a thundercloud. Brenda, ever the opportunist, immediately tried to throw me under the bus during the emergency meeting. "Mr. Harrison," she began, her voice dripping with feigned concern. "Supervisor here failed to adapt to my new, perfectly reasonable efficiency guidelines. He simply couldn't manage his team under standard operating hours." She postured, pointing a manicured finger in my direction, trying to frame the entire debacle as my incompetence and failure to follow policy. I remained perfectly calm. "I followed all HR directives precisely, Brenda," I stated, my voice steady and clear. "My records show exactly that." I opened my laptop, connected it to the conference room screen, and projected a meticulously organized folder. My job is to ensure outbound shipments, which requires appropriate staffing to meet contractual obligations. Your directive, the no overtime memo issued on October 28th, explicitly denied that staffing, directly causing the documented backlog and subsequent failures. The room went silent. The lawyers leaned forward, their expressions changing from weary to keenly interested. "Here," I continued, navigating through the folders, "are the 48 separate instances where I flagged this looming issue for Brenda, detailing the exact contractual impacts and potential penalties. And here," I clicked again, "are her dismissive responses, explicitly denying approval for any overtime, citing her absolute emergency clause, which she unilaterally decided did not apply to missing multi-million-dollar client commitments." I projected the photos. The overflowing docks, the stalled trucks, the red-lit display board. I displayed the email exchanges, Brenda's exact words on the screen, highlighted in red. "Furthermore," I added, "I have documented safety violations that arose from fatigued workers attempting to meet impossible quotas without adequate rest or support, all directly attributable to the lack of authorized overtime." Brenda's face, which had been so smug just moments before, drained of all color. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Mr. Harrison looked at her, then back at the screen, his jaw set. The lawyers exchanged grim glances, making rapid notes. The trap was sprung. The evidence was irrefutable. The fallout was immediate and spectacular. Brenda was escorted from the building that very afternoon, placed on indefinite administrative leave. Within 24 hours, her access badges were deactivated, her company email account frozen. Mr. Harrison called me into his office privately. He was furious about the company's losses, but he also acknowledged, in a clipped, strained voice, that my meticulous documentation had not only saved my skin, but had also provided corporate legal with a solid defense against claims of systemic negligence. He thanked me. The no overtime policy was immediately rescinded. An all-staff memo sent out reversing Brenda's directives and reinstating management discretion for necessary overtime. The distribution center slowly started the arduous process of clearing the backlog. Update 1 week later, Brenda was formally terminated from ETHA Logistics for cause. The official reason cited was gross negligence, mismanagement of corporate resources, and direct insubordination. Her name was scrubbed from the company directory, her internal employee profile deleted. An internal investigation, expedited by the legal team, confirmed that she had indeed repeatedly overstepped her authority and actively ignored critical operational warnings. There was no severance, just a walk to the door. Update 2, 1 month later. Etha Logistics is still reeling. They face multiple class action lawsuits from disgruntled customers and corporate clients. The stock price has taken a significant, sustained hit, shedding nearly 15% of its value. They settled with several of the largest retailers, likely for eye-watering sums. A new HR head, a pragmatist who actually started her career in logistics, was hired. She spent her first week doing nothing but walking the warehouse floor, talking to staff. My department, along with several others who navigated Brenda's nonsense, received a substantial integrity under duress bonus. Update 3 months later. The grapevine is a powerful thing. I hear Brenda is having an incredibly difficult time finding new employment. Her LinkedIn profile, once gleaming with self-aggrandizement, has vanished completely. Rumors floated around that she tried to start her own HR policy consulting firm. But apparently, without actual HR experience beyond weaponizing a handbook, she found no clients. A few weeks ago, I got a call, a reference check from a competitor. They were asking about a Brenda Miller who had applied for a data entry role. I paused. A small smile touched my lips. I verified that she had indeed worked under me. And then I simply said, her attention to detail, especially regarding policy, was unparalleled. The distribution center is slowly, painfully recovering its reputation, but the scars, both financial and operational, remain. My team, however, respects me more than ever.